All right, I'm the Flat Rate Master, and today we've got a case study on a stall, no crank, 2008 Buick Lucerne with a 3.8. All right, so customer complaint, stalls out, then it's a no crank, or let me rephrase that. They say it stalls out, and that's the extent of the symptoms. Now, I've been able to recreate it, and it is a stall, no crank, and then we're going to get it hopefully to be able to replicate it, and we'll go from there. We got to get it to stall, so let me go over my setup real quick. All right, so I've got my picoscope set up. Channel A and B are can high and low. Channel C and D is 12 volts into the PCM. And I've got them. Yes, I poked wires. Yes, I will fix it. Ground wire right there. I also have, when people talk about needing more than 4 channels of a scope, yeah, this is one of them. I've got my digital multimeter advance from Snap-on hooked into a 5-volt reference at the map sensor and see what drops out. When I started the diagnosis, I had these codes. U0100-00, lost communication with ECM powertrain control module, and U0101, both are fail since clear, lost communication with TCM, transmission control module. Well, no other DTCs. So let's crank it up, let it run, and hopefully we can get it replicating our symptoms. I'm hooked in with my OTC breakout box. My Bosch ADS 625 is plugged in as well. Charging system works fine, all that kind of good stuff. Let me go ahead and start my recording. At this point, everything's looking good. I've got both 12 volts. Anyway, I've got supply voltage on both the 2 lines to the PCM. Wiring diagram, I've got 2 power ends. Now I'm not teed into the high-speed LAN at the breakout I'm not hooked into the high-speed LAN. I'm on CAN network, and hopefully once we get this thing to stall, we'll see why. But anyway, I'm teed into both power wires, and off camera, I checked the grounds. So we're good on those. And we have 5 volts on our map sensor. So we're going to let it sit here and run, and we'll come back when it stalls out. All right, so talked about it a little bit. It's still running. I may not be able to replicate it, of course, because I turned the camera on. But anyway, let's talk about the networks. Now this car has a CAN high and a CAN low, and it also has a GM LAN network. Now I said earlier I wasn't concerned about the LAN network. I'll pop it up here, but if you look at the LAN network, it's for things like remote control. You know, yeah, it does have security, but it's a stall situation, not a no crank. Initially, it stalls and then it's a no crank. So I'm not really worried about the LAN network. So if you look at the topography of the LAN network, I mean, it goes to HVAC, radio, stuff like that. When I get a stall, everything except the ECM, TCM, I can't communicate with them via data stream. I get codes out of them, but I don't get any actual data. So on the CAN network, it's a high and a low, standard GM, standard CAN network, high and a low. During the event, I do not lose my CAN network. My CAN network stays active, just stays going. I don't lose my powers either, nor do I lose my ground. I only got 4 channels on the scope, so I can only show so much. I also do not lose my 5-volt reference. So when it goes to stall, I have CAN. I have communication with every module in the car except the ECM TCM. It's a powertrain control module, so it has both engine computer and the transmission. I still have powers, I still have grounds. Guess what that means? So I'll put it up here. Now, when I've got the stall situation, I got no crank. The Prindle may or may not be illuminated completely. It lights up, but I may or may not have the box over the park. So when I have a stall event, it's been running for almost 2 hours, probably not going to be able to get it to replicate. But anyway, so my CAN network stays fine, my power stay fine, my ground stay fine, still have 5-volt reference, I'm a no crank and no communication to data stream on the ECM or the TCM. Guess what? It's the PCM. Now, just to verify, I did disconnect the throttle body because it was setting a throttle body code, because one of the things that happens is it kicks out the throttle body during, it does kick a throttle body code, or a throttle body, it does kick a throttle body message on the dash at the stall that it no longer has throttle control. Doesn't run, so not surprising. I disconnected it, checked, make sure I have everything there. After the stall event, it's a no crank. I do go ahead and disconnect the ABS module to see if my communication to ECM, TCM is restored. It is not. I also disconnect the TAC module, aka the throttle body, and I still have no communication, so it's not the throttle body bringing down the ECM, it's the ECM. So I was able to replicate it. First time, I was checking for 5-volt reference, had it, got my codes for communication, and of course I wasn't at the car when it stalled, but I still had 5-volt reference, cranked it up, let it run for a while, was able to get a second stall, and again was able to do my testing, hooked up the way I've got it here, and just to make sure, I went ahead and did it a third time, got it to stall, and rechecked, and yes, everything points to a bad ECM. And again, it's been running for a couple hours, so I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to show you the stall event, but hopefully, waiting for customer approval on the PCM and programming, may or may not be able to bring you along for that. This car is owned by a little old lady. Her caregiver drives it occasionally. Her son's going to have to pay for it, and it's, $1,100 job. So we'll see if we get it. By the time this goes live, hopefully I'll have an answer on whether or not I was able to fix it. But of course, I've got the camera out and I can't replicate it. So thanks for watching. Hope it was informative for you. And as always, thanks for watching. I am the Flat Rate Master.